What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. It is so nice to be home. I'll be honest with you. I love to travel, I love to see people and everything else, but there's nothing like being home, and this is amazing to me because a couple of days ago it was like 95, 98 degrees. Today it's about 70, 75, a little breeze stirring. It's actually kind of chilly out here. You know, I'm out here barefoot in shorts, and it's kind of chilly here. And of course the fish, they're happy. They just swim around and look to get fed. What a life, at least for these guys. I do have some news on Stewart. Stewart is actually going home today. Stewart has been, of course, as you guys know, dealing with his cancer and a multitude of other ailments and everything, and we're going to be leaving a week from tomorrow. A week from tomorrow, we're going to Dallas. We're going to be doing some work and stuff on their house, try and make things nice for him and his mom, and so on. And I want to thank everybody who has contributed to that cause. I can't wait to leave. I can't wait to meet Stewart, and I can't wait to do this stuff. But I got thinking and talking to a couple of different people and things. You know, there's so much doom and gloom. So much doom and gloom for the Dallas Cowboys and their offense. I'm not ready to go with all that doom and gloom. I'm going to give you something positive here. I'm actually going to say it's actually amazing what the Dallas Cowboys actually did with their offense last year. I know you're going like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? No, okay. Let's just go through here for a couple of things. Now, the Cowboys ended up with more points and more yards than I think anybody else in the NFL, right? All right. Let's start with Dak Prescott. Dak had 4,400 and some odd yards, 37 TDs, 10 interceptions. Now, Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had a bunch of injuries last year, and Baker Mayfield played like trash. Baker Mayfield had a hard time with his injuries, getting the ball downfield, getting it to receivers and everything else, a la his ass is out of there. Dak, we know, was recovering from a catastrophic ankle injury, had a shoulder problem where Adam Schefter said that shoulder may not be 100% all season, had operation on this shoulder in the offseason, had a calf strain, but yet still threw 37 TDs and 10 interceptions, which is kind of amazing when you have that many ailments, okay? Now, if you're thinking that this is just a Dak Prescott video and you're about to click off, don't yet. Don't do that just yet, because I want to keep going a little bit more. Let's go down to Zeke Elliott. Zeke Elliott, who started out the season gangbusters. First 8 games of the season averaged 4.7 yards a carry and had about 15 to 20 carries per game. You know, some a few less, some a few more, but for the most part was very effective. Tears his PCL. Let me say this again. He tore a ligament in his knee. Week 4. The fact that he made it through the whole season and got 1,000 yards is actually a testament to the guy. But if you think having a tore PCL in your knee is the same as not having one, it's actually amazing that he was actually able to do that. Okay. Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard, a torn plantar fasciitis where he missed some time, and of course wasn't quite the same. Still was a dynamic back. Still, the Cowboys' rushing attack for the first half of the season was pretty good. The second half, it kind of disappeared. Okay, so if you're keeping track at home right now, you had a quarterback who was never 100% all season between the calf injury, the ankle that he was recovering from, the shoulder, both shoulders, and so on. Okay. You had both of your running backs with a knee problem or a foot problem. Okay. Michael Gallup has a calf strain, your number 3 wide receiver, and misses what? 8 games? And then tears his ACL. So one of your starting receivers misses almost half the season. Okay. All right. Your planned starting right tackle missed drug testing 7 times and got 7 games suspension. So that guy missed it. Okay. Your starting left guard had led the NFL in penalties. 13. Not to be outdone, your center, who got picked up and dropped in the quarterback's lap on a regular, who may be too tall and underweighted, had 9. And the guy who missed 7 games because he missed the test, he had 9 penalties in 10 games too. Your team led the NFL in penalties. Your number 1 wide receiver actually had no offseason because he was dealing with his ankle. He was on the PUP list for most of training camp. Ended up getting COVID and missing a few games, and when he came back was never quite the same guy and checked out. Okay. Your best offensive lineman, arguably, Tyron Smith, missed 6 games because of his ankle, knee, elbow, back. So we take all of those things. Your left tackle being out. Your left guard, 13 penalties. Your center, 9. Your right tackle, 9. Your running back from week 4, a PCL tear. Your quarterback, both shoulders injured, calf and ankle. One of your starting receivers missing 8 games because of calf and ACL. You had all of those things happen last year. Oh, and you had more penalties than anybody else. And somehow, you had more points than anybody else in the NFL. You were the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL. Okay. Here's why. You look at this and say, the Cowboys might be actually in a better position. You take all of that stuff. We don't believe that all of those things can happen. I mean, it's possible. You don't expect all of those things to happen. Especially since this time last year, Dak was still rehabbing his ankle. Dak is healthy. Dak has been actually working with his receivers. And mind you, the first offseason that CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott have actually ever had together. And he's working with guys like Semi Fuco and Jalen Tolbert. And I think Semi might be the wild card in this. And I think Semi's a lot better than people think. But be that as it may. You lose Amari Cooper, which was 668 yards last year. But I'm betting that between Jalen Tolbert and Semi Fuco and maybe James Washington, that those guys will more than make up for the yards you lose from Amari Cooper. I think you got yourself a better tight end than Blake Jarwin, who missed most of last season, and I forgot to put that in there as well. Okay? With Jake Ferguson. I think Jake Ferguson is going to be the better best blocking tight end we've had in a long time, but a guy who can also catch the ball, which means 12 personnel. Michael Gallup may miss some time to start the season, but I think that's going to give a chance for some of these other guys to step into the breach. Zeke Elliott, we always see the workout videos of Zeke, okay? And, it's like, don't necessarily believe those. But Zeke will be recovered from the PCL. And if he was able to average 4.7 yards when healthy, actually, for those games he was healthy, the other 4 he had to tore PCL. I'm thinking that he should be able to get to at least 4.5 yards. Tony Pollard, although a lot of you think he should be the starting back and he should get more of the football, take a look back at Marion Barber and how they used him. He was not the starter, but he almost had 1,000 yards. They used him in certain situations. I'm not sure if they used him as an every down back that he would have been as successful. And I believe that same thing with Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard is better used in different ways to get him the ball in space as opposed to pounding between the tackles. But he won't have the plantar fasciitis. You got rid of 2 of the biggest penalty machines on the team, in Connor Williams and Lyle Collins. And Lyle Collins, I truly believe, had slipped down some in his performance, having missed the year before. And looking at Terrence Steele and saying, Terrence Steele was the better tackle at right tackle last year, not Lyle Collins. Connor Williams, who currently might be the center in Miami. Now I'm going to tell you, this is where it's crazy because they tried him a few times at center in preseason last year, and it was a disaster. It was not good. And the fact that they decided to let him go, knowing that maybe they have some issues with Tyler Badish, they weren't even willing to try him at center. So Miami must be really, really desperate at center. So you get rid of, between Connor Williams and Lyle Collins, you get rid of 23 penalties from last year. Yeah. You should be better with that. And I believe, now maybe it's a wash for penalties with Tyler Smith. I don't know. But I can say this much. A lot of the holding penalties of Connor Williams were because his ass was getting beat and he didn't want his quarterback to get killed. And so the guy's blown by him and he's holding on for dear life. I don't think Tyler Smith necessarily will be doing that because that guy's a mauler. So I believe we should have less penalties. CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott having their first offseason together, really. They should be head and shoulders ahead of where they've been in the past because last year, Dak really didn't do training camp because of his shoulder. Basically, in-season practices and games. The year before, he had COVID, a shortened training camp with no preseason games, and Dak with 5 games. I expect those two guys to get some chemistry together and to be able to explode in that situation. So that's why I look at it from this standpoint. Oh, and hopefully Kellen Moore learns some more things about calling plays. And that Mike McCarthy, understanding that last chance, romance tonight, that this is his last chance, that he's got to do some shit or else he won't be here, will have a little more input on the play calling of Kellen Moore and hopefully be better. In my mind, unless all of those things happen, I don't see the offense being as bad as it was the second half. And if the team is not as bad as it was the second half of the season, that offense could still be pretty good. But what do I know? I'm a guy with a day job, a voodoo doll, and I'm out here feeding the fish. But I hope you guys are all having a great Friday. Hope you tune in tonight, 9 o'clock, for my live stream. We'll be live talking about the Cowboys. And we're going to have some special giveaways tonight. Yeah, we're not doing the chip challenge tonight because I'm home alone. And if that thing killed me or started to kill me, there's nobody here to call 911. Just this. So, With that being said, the fish are fed. They look happy. I got some more work to do in the workshop for the giveaways tonight, and I'll see you there.